Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 327 of the Civil Gore podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and we have a fun episode for you. And up until this point, you're still getting this episode with it being tariff free. So we're not charging.
This is a tariff-free podcast.
Yes, we're not getting, even if we get hit with a 30-cent tariff on our hosting service, we will not pass that on to you. It will always be free.
No, and this is an ad-free podcast. Has always been ad-free, which is
It has.
saying something, because I listen to a lot of podcasts and I cannot tell you the amount of time I spend fast forwarding through ads. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, like, are we doing something wrong? It makes me think, I'm like, why are Tim and I like the one podcast that has no ads anymore? Like, what did we do wrong? Did we miss like some memo that came out?
I don't care. I don't want the ads.
Yeah,
if we ever did ads, we would at least make them entertaining. I would not just put canned ads in there. I would have to do the entertainment.
No, yeah, I think they need to give us like the keys to the ad. Like, they'll tell us what to sell and we do it ourselves. That'd be the closest thing I would allow. I mean,
exactly.
Granted, the way I look at it is like, I'm probably annoying enough to the listeners. They don't need to hear selling like weird things. And I'm not bashing our fellow podcasters that use the ads, because a lot of times, sometimes they're sponsored by a podcast network and that's their agreement and it's easier for them. So more the power to them. I just think we're not there. We don't need to. We don't really want to like.
No,
we're just in case we want to get out like cold turkey one day of no podcasting. We're like, okay, no contract, nothing. We're peace out, people.
We're out.
Yeah,
peace.
Cody's probably like, oh my god, no. What did they say? No, we're just. It was just an example, Cody. We're not going anywhere. Don't worry.
Oh man. Oh, we did have a fun episode though. I've got a couple things to talk about in our first chop. All right, Brian. So I had a couple of horror book reviews that I've just finished, 2 horror books recently. I was continuing my extreme horror excursion into the extreme horror starter pack that I found on Reddit. And coming up next was one called Off Season by Jack Ketchum. This is same Jack Ketchum that did the Girl Next Door book that I talked about a couple episodes back. And this one is more of a hillbilly horror novel, and it very much reads like what you would think of as a Wrong Turn or a movie like that. Definitely kind of has that horror movie vibe to it. And when I read it, I was like, I don't know if I would classify this as extreme horror. I mean, it's got some like really violent gore and stuff in it, but I'm like, is this really extreme? And then I realized this was published in 1980. So in 1980, this was probably like really hardcore.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I read the afterword, which was in my edition of the book, Jack Ketchum had written an afterword talking about how hard it was for him to get this published, because his and I think the version I read was the one he reissued after the initial publication was heavily edited. So, but when he had first tried to publish it, like it was like trying to get an R-rated movie submitted, and they kept cutting scenes. Like they were literally cutting scenes out of this book because it was too gory. So
it's weird. I've never heard of a book going through that kind of trouble.
Yeah, I hadn't either. I thought it was interesting in the afterward. He was talking about, I had to change this scene from this to this because they didn't want to see this. And I was like, man, I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it was. At least it was back in 1980.
Yeah, because usually you hear that like afterwards they like will try and take the book off shelves or something, like, oh, this is too bad. Like I never realized that in terms of books, you don't really think of books as like having ratings like that could cause that they would have to cut stuff from. So.
But anyway, it was really entertaining. It's a if you like hillbilly horror, like it's definitely has that feel to it, and I really like that part of it. So I enjoyed that one. Apparently, there's a sequel to it that I have not read yet, but I'll be on the lookout for. Now, those 2 I read were again published in the early 80s. I'm now moving into the more modern ones, and let me tell you, it's a big step up, in the extremeness. And I don't know, honestly, if I'm going to get through this whole starter pack, because I started reading some of the descriptions of some of these. I'm like, I don't know that I want to read that. Like, that might be too much for even old Tim here to stomach. So I am reading another one now called Cows. I can't remember the author's name, and I'm too lazy to look it up. But I'll have a review on it eventually. So, but it's definitely very much a huge step up in the extreme category. So we'll see. We'll so we'll see how that goes. So my other book was a Stephen King book I had not read. I've read most of everything of Stephen King's, but the ones I haven't read tend to be the little kind of sort of I consider them kind of like I don't one off is not the right word, but he had a imprint called Hard Crime Publishing that he was started doing some side novels for, and Hard Crime Publishing was basically doing like kind of like the old detective noir crime novel type stuff. So he had
Ah,
written one you've probably heard of called The Colorado Kid. He read one called
yeah.
Joyland, and those were under that label. And so this one is, I think, the third uh, under that publishing company called Later. And I was kind of expecting because of that, I was kind of expecting this would be more of one of his like crime thriller novels because he's done some recently that were more I would not even classify as horror per se. They were more like I would say more kind of like crime thriller. Like the whole the there was a Hodges trilogy, the had Holly, the character Holly and End of Watch and all those
But I think you have a copy of Holly for me or something, right? I think we
dude, I've
got
got
a
it on the shelf right there. I
yeah,
need
I
to get
gotta
it to
get
you.
yeah.
But yeah,
I gotta
so
send your comic too, so we're even.
so yeah, so that's what I was expecting, and what I got was actually it's not. I wouldn't say it's really horror per se, but definitely very supernatural. It's about a kid who can see ghosts. It's very much Sixth Sense. Like this kid can see ghosts. He can talk to ghosts, and he gets kind of wrapped up in this adventure with his one of his mom's friends, and I'll just leave it at that. But it gets into it's a short read. It's not very long, but I thought it was really entertaining. I love the characters, and and even though it's like a definitely it's a I won't say a rip off of Sixth Sense. It just has the same kind of premise of a kid that can see dead people. But it's I really liked it. I thought it was a good quick little read, and I love anything by Stephen King typically. So that one was definitely one to put on your list if you just want to knock a quick Stephen King book out. I thought it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, there's not
Uh,
many quick ones for him really, but
no, I
most
mean
of
that's what I kind of like this little offshoot with this hard crime publishing. He kind of does these little shorter kind of one off novels. So check that one out if you get a chance and you're a Stephen King fan.
that one's it sounds cool, and it's amazing how he, like, branches out and, like, but just people know him as, like, for his horror, but if you really look at how many things he's written and just been part of, it's crazy to his work, you know? It's just his life's work with stuff.
Yeah, I've probably still got 3 or 4 Stephen King novels I have not read. One of them was the one he did with his son, Sleeping Beauties, I think it was called. And I think there's a couple of recent ones he put out that I haven't read yet. So I'm a little behind. I used to read everything he wrote religiously, like every single thing he wrote. Every time it put out, I would instantly go buy it. And I've kind of backed off of that over the years, but I've still kept up pretty good. So at one time I thought about even doing a reread, and it was too much. Like the body of work is just too long. I can't. I got too many new books I want to read.
Huh.
I can't do that kind of a backlog. But
Yeah, well, now I
uh,
wanna read that new one Cone sent us today.
yeah, that looked really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Cohen
I
sent us
gotta
one about Polybius, which is the urban legend about the video game that was. I've listened to podcasts about that
yeah.
urban legend, but it was about a rumored video game in the 80s that was basically put in place as kind of a mind control experiment from the government.
Now is this like a fictional version of it, or is it like a true
This sounds like a
like
fictional, like the book sounds like a fictional version of it.
yeah, that's what
Um, but
I thought. Because I mean,
but
you read so many books that are similar like that, like, well, I mean, The Last Starfighter kinda had, like, that kind of, like I'm sure it was, like there was probably a loosely based thing off of that, even though that wasn't the government, but that was actually, like, aliens,
yeah.
recruiting. I mean, it's very easy to kinda go from the original urban legend and kinda branch out like that.
Oh, and what's the granddaddy of them all was Ender's Game. That was
Oh,
like one of
yeah,
the
yeah.
first novels that really explored that idea of using video games to train people, kind of thing. But yeah,
Oh
that one
god, I
looked
would
that
probably
really
never
good.
make it. I'd be like so but especially because like they just because like when we used to play Call of Duty, most of the time I'd be going, "Cone, save me!" And then, you know, and he wouldn't. But, I now if there was, like, sports video games and they were training that, now there's something. I should have been in the NHL by now, but I don't think they're really doing that. That proves that they're not recruiting athletes from these video games.
We used to play EverQuest, which is like an online MMO role playing game. This is way back in the day, and my buddy's dad used to play with us. And of course, he was older, and he was always like his character was always dying, and we'd have to wait on him. And his name was Marison. His character's name was Marison. So when we would be on voice chat playing the game, and we'd be like going through a dungeon and fighting, and then all of a sudden you hear Marison down, Marison down, and we have
Oh
to
my
run back
god.
and heal him. It was I can't. Every time you think of somebody like failing at video games, that's all I
That's
can think
that's
of is Marison down.
that's
Oh,
usually
that's
me.
funny.
But it's kinda like that. Do you remember the Dungeons& and Dragons, cartoon where they went in the
Yes.
ride and then it transformed them into, like, the Dungeons& and Dragons world? That'd be cool if they did like a version of that where you play Dungeons& and Dragons, like, somehow I don't know how it'd work it, but then it, like, pulls you actually back in time into something or, you know, but I'm sure they've done similar
There's a
things, but
lot
it's
of
probably like
books.
Jumanji. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
Jumanji is kinda
there's a
that.
whole there's a whole book genre called lit RPG, which is basically that same premise. Like it's very
Okay.
much that.
Well, and then Emily did that movie. Actually, the Emily's, what was it? Escaping Final Level, Escaping Rancala, which was like a video
Yeah.
game version of Jumanji, where they got put in the arcade, and which was actually really a fun movie. It's fun. You know what? It's good. It's a good movie for you know, it's like a very it's very good fun family like action adventure like sci-fi kind of twist. You know, it's not your typical Emily's horror movie stuff. So, but as we know, she can do. She's not just all horror. She's done some great
No,
stuff
she's no, she's
otherwise.
done
So
romantic comedies,
yeah, the
everything.
holiday stuff. She's done that like that cool artsy film,
Yeah.
Palace. So yeah, so she's done a lot of good stuff. Anyway, so I guess my first chop. I have two items I'll go through here. One was that I'll do this one first. Is I finally you know, it's funny. I don't know how NECA was able to do this. I thought like all rights and stuff were like to this were not able, but they released an ultimate Pamela Voorhees figure, you know, in the line of those Jason figures that I have.
Yeah, that one looks cool. Really cool.
It's really good. So I'm like, I gotta order that. And you know, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna take a chance again that this thing doesn't like, you know, like that like some kind of weird rights issues come and then they pull them off the shelf. Because like now you don't see those Jasons anywhere. Like, you know, I mean, like I said, I haven't been to a Target in a long time, but used to go there and they'd have like 30 of every kind of every one. And now you don't see that anywhere. I mean, I guess unless Target, maybe some Targets still have them, and but like I don't even see them at like some of the comic stores that used to have them. So
Oh,
I don't know
really?
if they're yeah, I don't know if they're producing those anymore. I know NECA's site has it, I think. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I figured I had to get that, and it looks really cool. I'm gonna I'll post some pictures on our Instagram later for it. It looks really cool. It's got, like, the paddle. It's got, you know, and it really looks like the likeness is so dead on. I don't know if the head like, I assume the head pops off, but I don't know if there's, like a he you can make a head like, I totally wanna when I set you know, I set back up my little, like, shelf of Jason figures, I'm gonna make a little diorama of that and, like, kinda totally put her, like, headless. They're, like, reaching for a
Yes.
head. Now that
Yeah.
but they need an Alice figure. They need to get Adrian King to do, like, an Alice likeness.
That
Like,
would be
I don't
so
know
cool.
why they don't do that. If they have the rights now to, like, the original Friday the 13th, they should be doing an Alice. I would love, like, all the different, like, side characters, like Laura Marie Taylor's Vicky from part 2, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be
Like, they
so
really need to
cool.
do those kind of figures, and then, you know, you know, it's like, because you know there'd be people like me that would totally buy them. I'd buy them all, but, the next thing I got, this was the one item that when I saw this was announced I was like, if there was ever a no-brainer because I had this game when I was a kid, and I loved
I
this. I
can't
think I
wait
went
to
to
hear about this.
3 of them. I've not opened it yet, and I'm totally opening this. But, um, I don't know if you guys remember, listeners, I know you remember this, Tim. So and I had this thing, I went through a bunch of them because I kept breaking them because probably much cheaper. I think it was like a rubber band in his mouth that did it. But this is a Jaws game that they used to have, and I remember it was this long like box. But I'll tell you, the new version was like it blew me. I got when the box came, it was huge, and I'm like, what the heck? I ordered 2 things in there. The Jaws game is about this big, I'm thinking, and the figure I know how big it is, but no, the Jaws game is like like I can't see
Well,
it.
they
It's
made
like
it look way more realistic too.
yeah. So, and I don't if just for those who don't know what I'm talking about. So this was a game like picture Operation or that one there was that other one you still get it, that little the alligator one where you put your finger in and it chomps down like when you hit
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wrong or the one that like I would oh my god if they came out with this one again I'd buy this in a heartbeat too. Remember Conan and I used to play this. We told you guys that I want to bite your finger where it was
Yeah.
like it was a Dracula and like every so often the teeth would come down and make a little mark on your little 2
The
dots on your
kids had
finger.
all kinds of there's so many. There was a Five Nights
Yeah.
at Freddy's version they did. We used to have one called Don't Wake or something with Grandma, Don't Wake Granny or something, but
Oh
it was like a
yeah,
scary
yeah.
grandma. There was one that was like Don't Wake Daddy, and he was in a bed and he would pop up. It was like all these kind of jump scare games that the kids had a ton of
Yeah.
those when they were little.
Yeah, but I mean, this one was pretty amazing when you think of it as a kid because, the fact that they would come out with this, and everyone made a big deal about when the Alien toy came out. And this was around the same time this toy came out, and I remember, and I was like, you think it, granted, Jaws was PG, Alien was R, but still, it was like, it's a movie that you're not really taking the whole family to see Jaws. Like, I mean, my family, my mom took me, but I mean, but, she used to take me to horror stuff like that, but it was and so this was game so picture Operation, basically this Jaws' mouth was this giant you had this version of Jaws, the shark, and you would reach in there and it'd have all these things like a boot, like little, like, junk that you would find in, like, a real shark's mouth, and you had to, like, reach in and try and pull it out. And if every once in a while, you hit the thing or something that would chomp down and you'd lose the point. So it's like an operation, just not electronic, which I think they should have probably made this newer version. They should have made it electronic
Yeah, that would be good.
because
And just
that and the magic of
randomize it.
dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
and it play the music the whole time, and then you don't know
Oh, that
when
would
it's
be
gonna
cool.
chomp. I mean, yeah. Well, it's like, did you see that? Little off topic here, but did you see that I mean, I knew it came out and I just never could justify because it was 3,000 made and it was really expensive, and I think they're going for like $800 at the cheapest. I saw that Star Tours, like, vehicle version where it has every lights and sound effects and all these things, and it actually, if you look inside the screen, plays about a few minutes of the ride, like the beginning of the old Star Tours ride, with like "Comets, comet," or
Yeah.
he's like "Brakes, brakes," the whole thing lights up in the cabin and the Rex turn spin,
Oh,
and I'm
that's
like,
cool.
yeah, I'm like that. I need that toy until I saw how much it was. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be just a dream of mine to never own it, but maybe they'll re-release it again, like in a newer version or something. I don't know, but it was really cool because but so this one but this is kind of just like Tim said, they made it look more realistic of a shark. The old one was just a gray generic shark, like that looked like the shark on the poster. Really, it was a
And it
generic.
looked kinda cartoony in a way too.
Yeah, but this one definitely has the more like kind of. I don't know what it feels like. Like I'm gonna. I mean, I should do actually. I should do a true like Civil War unboxing video with
Yeah, do
this.
that. That would be cool
We've
'cause I wanna
never
see
really
it.
done one of those like that, and this would be cool to unbox it and set it up and play. But yeah, so I'm really glad, and I'm like, that's something I like had to get, and it wasn't cheap. I mean, I remember when I bought it, my mom, like I said, she had bought me a couple because I kept breaking, and I remember I think it was like something like 9.99 back in the day. This one is like $50 or 59.99, but it's bigger and it's a remake, and plus, what toys cost these days, it's is what it is, but I'm like, that's 2 items I just had to have, because
Yeah.
I mean, that, like, brings me back to my childhood, that
The
Jaws game,
nostalgia
and I'm
factor
like,
alone for that one was just so high.
"Oh, yeah, yeah." I mean, and it with it being the 50th anniversary and so many cool Jaws stuff is coming out, I'm
Yeah,
like, "You know what?"
PetSmart has a whole Jaws section of dog toys. Jaws
Oh,
dog
I saw
toys.
it. I thought that
Yeah.
was that's his PetSmart. I saw
Yeah.
pictures of it. I thought it was BarkBox, but if it's a PetSmart, I gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah,
I gotta
they
go
have a
get
whole
Obi
ton of
treats
stuff.
anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Obi's gonna end up with every Jaws toy in them. Is there a Richard Dreyfuss that when you bite on it, it goes, "Hey"? But that no, he
Not
wouldn't say
yet. We
that for Jaws,
haven't
but that'd be
brought out
funny.
Richard Dreyfuss in a while.
I
Yeah.
know. We haven't he It's funny, we haven't really done any of our characters in a while. We need to bring them back. I don't know what
Well,
happened.
that's a great segue, Brian. It
Yeah.
segues right into my to be trap because my movie is called Beazle, which the minute I saw the title, when Brian gave this to me, all I could think of was Pauly Shore and the Weasel. It's like, I'm the Beazle.
Yeah,
And
neat.
and it got me thinking, because you said about characters. It got me thinking. I was like, what was it about the 80s and 90s? Like comedy was so character driven. It was character based, like Pee Wee Herman and Ed
Yeah.
Grimley. And then you had, and it bled into the early 90s. So that you had like Pauly Shore doing the Weasel, and you had like Wayne's World. Like everything was so character driven, and they all had catchphrases. And it was like
Yeah.
catchphrase driven. And then I got thinking about it. I was like, is there anything like that today? Like I feel like that kind of comedy is just like gone. Like I don't know that I was trying to think of a recent example of like
Yeah.
character driven comedy or catchphrase driven comedy. I could not think of a single example.
I mean, maybe you wanna say but I don't know if this counts, but, maybe with the new Happy Gilmore coming out. Um, I
But
mean, there
even
was
that's old. I mean,
yeah.
it's just a reboot of something that's
Oh,
old.
you're saying brand new. No, but I'll tell you why. I have a theory maybe why. I think maybe because of the whole YouTube generation, Instagram. So many people make their own videos that it's like of all these things, and it's like I feel like that's taking over more than anything. Like the influencer thing is basically what it is, and
Yeah, it's so weird.
because
It's
yeah,
got
you're
this
right. I mean, Saturday Night Live has its characters on there, but it's not like it was back then, where like you were guaranteed to have like a Saturday Night Live character got popular, you were going to see merch, shirts,
a
this
movie. Yeah,
movies,
everything. Yeah. It's not the
commercials.
same.
They just don't have that anymore.
It's so weird. I just got to think of it. It's funny how this all spawned out of a movie called Beazle, but that's where my mind went. I could
Magic of
not
To Be Trap.
yeah, like to be trapped delivered in so many unexpected ways. But this one actually came out last year. It was directed by Aaron Fradkin, and it stars
Not like
Bob.
William Friedkin, like, is that that's such a
It's like the
to be
Wish
William
version.
version of William Friedkin, like
Yes,
Aaron
exactly.
Fradkin, you know?
As Bob Gallagher as Harold Weems, LeJean Woods as Apollo, Nicholas Robin
Like
as
LeJean
Lucas.
Woods, is that like LeBron James? It's, like, close, It's like, no.
Nicholas Robin is Lucas. All these are Wish versions of actual celebrities.
They are. Look at
They're
the next one.
Carolyn Quickly. Yeah,
This
Carolyn
is like
Quickly
when
is
Jim
there.
Hanks started doing all those movies and they
Yes.
tried to make him look like Tom Hanks on the poster to fool people, but, uh,
Victoria Fradkin as Nova, Kimberly Saldet Poulin as Dolores Weems. So the synopsis here is: over 60 years, three guests of a cursed home discover an eternal witch who lives beneath it with an insatiable thirst for living souls.
honestly,
Okay,
the plot sounded like a You kinda plot a little bit, so
let me tell you, this movie started off great. Like I thought the first, the first 15, 20 minutes of this movie, and it's a short movie. I think it's only like 83 minutes. But the first 20 minutes or so, I'm like, man, this might actually be like a hidden gem. This might be a really good one because it starts off in the 60s, and it's got like this really cool filter effect to make it like a home movie. Gave me very big Sinister vibes. Very big Sinister vibes. Sinister had the whole home movies, and it was creepy. It kind of had that kind of going on. And you find out that yes, there's this witch living in the basement, and this guy is like basically feeding people to it. And so you go from the 60s, and you kind of get that was the first like big reveal scare. And then you cut to the 80s, and you have the guy that's living in the house. This kind of gave me creep vibes because he invites a videographer
oh.
over to record it. He's going to tell the story of this thing. And so he invites this videographer over to come hear him tell his story and record it. And then through that, you realize, no, he's really just inviting the videographer over there so he could feed him to the witch kind of thing. So, so that was cool. So then it jumps again to another time period where an old lady is living there with her live-in nurse, and you get into the whole thing with, okay, maybe the old lady's just inviting nurses over to feed them to the witch. So it's this constant shifting of the storyline to show what's happening
Interesting,
with
yeah.
different generations and all of that was great. I loved all of that. But then about halfway through the movie, then it shifts to like what they consider, I guess, what you would consider the main part, which is like the modern day. what happened, and it's a couple that moves in, and this is where the movie just entirely fell apart for me.
Uh,
This couple is number one, the husband is a complete asshole, like so bad that I was like, just let him die to the witch. Like, I don't care. Like I can't stand this guy already. And maybe that was on purpose to so you won't feel sympathy for him, but like he was really unlikable to a point like that it just actually turned me off of the movie.
oh,
And his
that's never good. Yeah, you're right. It's like one thing where you get a character, you're supposed to hate, and it's like you kind of say, okay, respect, but when it like makes you want to shut the movie off, you gone a little too far.
yeah, and then like his wife, number one, you're going, why the hell are you still with this guy? Like he's obviously a terrible asshole. Like, why would you even be with him? But her like fawning over him despite him being this jerk was also off-putting because I'm like, I know they're married, they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, so it wasn't as easy, but they were married, and like, I mean, just the stuff he would say, like she would try to like tease him and flirt with him, and he would just be rude to her, and then like she was talking about, um, maybe we should keep the house for be a great place to raise children. And he's like, we're never gonna have babies, we're never gonna have kids, and he's like being a just a asshole to her, and she's still staying with him. I'm like, I don't like this. I hate this whole couple. I hate this whole movie now. And then it just like drags on and ends up I don't know, it's almost like it threw away all of the promise it had. I would have been perfectly content if they had just kept with the formula of that first half of the movie where it was showing the different decades and what happened. I thought that was entertaining. I thought it was creepy. Then they get to the second half and
Almost
it's
like a
like,
built-in anthology kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, and then the second half, they just kind of throw all that to the side, and they go for like this completely to me was a completely different style. The jump scares were very predictable. It used a lot of tropes that just were kind of dumb. Like everything about it just like completely fell apart. It was so odd. I was even reading letterbox reviews afterwards, and people were picking up on the exact same thing. Everybody was like, "Yeah, this movie was great until boom," and then all of a sudden, like I
Uh,
wasn't the only person that thought that. So it was kind of disappointing because I really wanted to like this one, and I think whoever the director is, I mean, I think he's got great potential. I don't know what else he's done, but I'm not
I did
bashing.
see what he did. Oddly enough, he did a movie called The Texorcist, which is a version of The Exorcist based in Austin, and he goes,
Oh
the
yeah.
the power of Christ compels you. No, I'm only kidding. No, but can you imagine that? That's actually a good plot. We
That
should
would be
make
a
that movie.
great to-be trap movie, though.
It is like The Texorcist.
But,
Imagine that, just some Texas exorcist dude, and he like,
you could tell whoever directed this has seen movies like Sinister, has seen movies
yeah,
like
what else
Evil
he's done?
Dead, has seen like, it's got a lot of things that remind me of other horror movies that I know the director knows horror, and I so I don't wanna trash it for that because I think there's a lot of potential there. But man, I was just so frustrated that this movie kind of fell apart in the second half because it had the potential to be pretty decent, and then it kind of just went, it just kind of fizzled for me. But
Well, so I looked on his IMDb, and it looks like that. So he's done a lot of shorts before this, and a series called Bloody Bites. He directed, I guess, in one episode of. And
which
then it looks like he's done miniseries, like short formats, and that probably explains. Maybe he's just because he's so used to doing shorts that when he has to kind of bring it out, maybe that's where
yeah,
he needs
because
to find his bearings a little
if
bit.
you think about it, this roughly an hour and a half movie, each decade more or less takes like 10 to 15 minutes. And those were the parts I enjoyed the most when they were shifting between these three. And then when he had to fill up a 45-minute block of time, that's when the movie fell apart. So
Yeah.
maybe you're onto something there. I don't know.
I mean,
So,
it's understandable. I mean, think about it. If you're used to like doing anything, in a in a scope of trying to think of another example, but even in business, right? Say you work on something, right? And you're, used to working on these small little projects, and all of a sudden they decide, okay, we're gonna make you a head of this acquisition. It's like, oh, okay, I kind of worked on little bits of acquisitions before, but now you're making me like spearhead an entire company acquisition. maybe they might struggle at first, because it's like they're used to the smaller bits about it. And I mean, some people can obviously advance because how many times have you heard people that were like, what was it, like Tony Scott, I think, right? He was a music video guy and then he been able to do all these great action movies and stuff. So it could be something like that. I don't know.
Well, and I think it's also didn't help that the 2 characters for the longest section of this movie were the ones I least liked out of the entire movie. Like, I really liked the characters in the other sections so much more than I liked these characters, but unfortunately, the ones I didn't like were the ones I had to spend the most time with. I think that didn't help either.
And
And then
you
nothing
know,
against the performances, and I will have to say the gore was great, like the effects were really good. So hats off to the effects people. Those were fantastic. The performances were wonderful. Like nothing about that. Like I can't fault the movie for any of that. It doesn't even really feel that low budget. So that the only problem I had was this weird pacing issue I had, I guess.
I mean,
But
I mean, granted though, he obviously has talent. So it's like, based on if he could do you actually started you really liked the movie and then it just kind of lost you. But I mean, at least it like held you in
oh
there
yeah,
for a
no,
little
no,
bit
the
because shows
potential's
there's
there.
talent. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the talent's there, the potential's there. I'm not dissing the guy's talent whatsoever because I can see you can see the germs of like something really good here. I just think it needs a second try at it to maybe stick the landing a little better. But
Nice. Well,
yeah, so
at
not
least you
a
didn't get a total to be trapped there.
no,
You
it
kind
was
of got like
that was not a terrible to be trap. I actually enjoyed watching it. It was not one of those that's like pain. Some of these are painful to get through. Let's be honest, they're like painful. This one was not in any way painful to get through. It was entertaining, with the caveat that it kind of just fell apart in the second half. But speaking of movies that are entertaining from start to finish, I think we have
yes,
to talk about Companion, which came out this
yes,
year.
which I was very excited to finally see. Yeah.
I love the poster for this movie. It was directed by Drew Hancock, starring Sophie Thatcher as Iris, Jack Quaid as Josh, Lucas Gage as Patrick, Megan Suri as Kat, Harvey is
I
it
think Ian.
Guillen as Eli, Rupert Friend as Sergey, Jabuki Young White as Teddy, Matt McCarthy as Sid, Mark Menchaca as Deputy Hendricks,
Hey,
Woody
Mark
Fu as
Menchaca,
yeah. Oh, that's
Civil War
right.
guest.
That's right.
At
Yeah.
one point, Civil War guest.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. Woody Fu as Mateo and Ashley Lambert as Josh's car voice. This one has a
I only
weekend.
put that because it actually had kind of a role
It
in the
does. It
movie.
does. Actually does.
It had an important segment. So
A weekend getaway with friends in a remote cabin turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not what they seem. Now, my big gripe about this is I had knew nothing about this movie going in. Nothing, not at all. All I'd seen is the poster and reading the description on what streaming service was this on? I can't remember what it was on.
I should have
Uh,
watched it on my Voodoo. I had it on there,
well,
but
it's
I think
it's
it
on the
was
stream. Yeah, it's on the streaming service now. So I watched it there. But that in the description, they basically spoil the movie,
the twist.
the twist. Which,
I mean,
granted,
I knew I knew there was what she was, and obviously spoilers if you
yeah,
haven't
spoilers
seen
are
this
going.
movie,
Yeah,
you might want to wait but I knew she was like some kind of AI robot or whatever you want to call it, kind of android or whatever it is, because for some of the sequences I saw, but I didn't know it was going to be the way it went. I thought it was like, I literally thought it was gonna be like okay, she's just gonna snap and go crazy and start killing people. I had no idea that it was like the way they just subtly brought it into the world that it exists in this movie that it's just accepted, you know?
yeah. This is what I loved about this one. So yeah, like I said, you find out pretty quickly too that she's an AI robot. So it's not really like a total spoiler. I think if you'd watched trailers, you would have already known it. So
I mean,
I can't
but
really.
there is multiple twists, so that at least that part's good. It's
Yeah,
multiple
no, yes. So
things.
I just if you were going on completely cold, that description on the streaming service would have kind of ruined that surprise for you. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's still what I loved about it, and that's a great point, Brian, because that's what I was going to bring up is I was totally expecting when I found that out that this is going to be another rogue AI movie because that's what we're getting a lot of these days. We had the reboot of Child's Play, we had Megan, we've had um
Subservience one, the one with Megan Fox.
yeah, we had Ex Machina, which is a little
Yeah.
older. Which that one
That was good
that
though.
I
I
loved
wouldn't
it.
think.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that
I thought
one.
that was really good. That
But
one.
it was a little more sympathetic to the AI as well,
Yeah.
compared to some of those. But I love that this one basically the AI was not the villain in this movie.
Right.
Um, or we'll say the main Sophie Thatcher, Iris is not the villain
Yeah.
in this movie.
Which I completely flipped my expectations. I thought she was like gonna be the villain.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I think everybody thought that, and I think that's why what makes this movie so great is because right now everybody's kind of scared of AI in real life. Like everybody's like nervous about it. What is this going to mean? What is it going to do? And this was the first movie I've seen recently, specifically horror movie that kind of turned that on its head and said, wait a minute, what if the AI should be more scared of us?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, which I thought was a really cool twist on it. And obviously you got these great actors in this. Like has just a super
Oh
great
god, I love
cast.
Sophie Thatcher. I mean, I
Yeah,
still need to watch season 2 and 3 of Yellow Jackets, but just I've seen her in some other stuff. She had a little role in Maxine too. She's
yeah,
just so good. I mean, and she's got a very unique look about her. I mean, very attractive, but like just there's something like extra. She's like really like just such a unique look to her that I think is just very appealing.
yeah. And I love Jack Quaid ever since I saw him in Scream, the
He's in
2022
like a
Scream.
he's getting some horror props
He's getting
there
some
now.
horror, and like I almost felt like it was funny because just knowing him from the Scream reboot, it's almost like I felt, like, comfortable that he was there, like, it almost like it was like
Yeah.
a comfort factor of he just kinda had that cozy feeling of, "Oh, okay, like, we're in good hands as with him as a lead in this horror movie." I instantly felt great about that.
And actually, Harvey Guillen I like because 'cause he's been in some other stuff, and he's always pretty funny. He was in that other, one I watched, the other version of, like, Truth or Dare that, like not the famous one that was, like, Blumhouse, but the other one that
Well,
was a
I
s
mean,
s
I adore him from What We Do in the Shadows, which I don't know if you've
Oh, I
watched.
forgot he's in
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I forgot he's in because I didn't watch all of that show, so
Like, I only know him as Guillermo, that's the only way I know him. So but I absolutely adore him from that show, so, like, him being in here was a automatic A plus for me.
He's like he's funny. He's, like, so underrated, like, I feel like, and he's been in a lot of
Superb.
stuff, like,
Yeah.
did a lot of voices, he's been in a lot of, like, like, I think the Shrek ones, what was that thing? I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff. I think his when I first saw him was in The Internship, that
Yep.
comedy with Vince Vaughn and everything, but he's been in like, a lot of other things, but
He's so good because he can play comedy, and he can also play the straight man. He
yeah,
can do both effortlessly, and he can switch between them with no effort, and it's just amazing because he was a little bit of the straight man on What We Do in the Shadows because he's got to be like the straight man to the craziness of the vampires that he lives with, but he's got such good comedic timing that he can do both. So it's really great to
yeah.
see him on here. But yeah, so I
I
don't know
guess
if
we should do the housekeeping. Oh, no, we did do the
yeah, we
housekeeping,
did do
that's
the
right, yeah.
housekeeping, but I guess we kind of go through this. So as we find out, Josh shows up with Iris. That's his companion, his robot companion. He comes to this weekend retreat with his friends at this cabin owned by this Russian millionaire, apparently. And when they get there, that's when kind of the chaos ensues. I don't want to give too much away because
Yeah,
this movie is fairly new and it just came out on streaming, so I want you guys to watch it. But that's when things kind of start to fall apart, as you might expect. Anytime friends get together in a horror movie at a remote location,
yeah.
things are going to go awry, and they certainly do in this one. But I loved the fact that they kind of twist this one on its head, and nobody is really who they seem in this movie. And there's some twists and turns that I certainly did not see coming. That I thought were great.
And I think one of the subtle things I think they did too with, like, giving the whole, Sophie Thatcher reveal, Iris is her it was how they actually showed their little meet cute, and, and, like, they gave her this personality of that you wouldn't expect because most of the time in these movies, these horror movies with any kind of, android or AI robot or anything, they're very robotic, no pun intended. And her, they give this emotion of like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna meet your friends. I'm kinda nervous. I'm kinda this. I'm kind." Very few movies kinda get that right. I think the one, like, because I'm like, if they were to ever perfect that technology into this, I don't think they would release it until it was like a Sophie Thatcher type, where it's so natural because if it, because the whole point is the more natural it is, the better. So to make her so human like in it with those kind of emotions in it, I thought was a good touch. One of the other movies that I think they did it. Now you didn't physically see the person, but you saw that movie Her, right? With
I don't think I ever watched it. I know what
oh,
you're
you
talking
gotta see,
about. It's got Scarlett
yeah.
Johansson as the voice, right?
Yeah, yeah, where she's like an AI, like, on Joaquin Phoenix's phone, and, and that touches on I love that movie, I've seen it a ton of times, you'd love it, actually, it's on my Vudu, so you can check it out if you wanna see it, and that one kinda does it was one of the few ones that kind of dealt with that whole emotional contact, but you have to still remember they're not human kind of thing. So there's a lot of like, as real as they seem kind of thing. And I think that's where AI would truly be scary because obviously the more realistic it is. I mean, yes, I mean if an AI like a Megan is coming after you, you still might be a little frightened because it's trying to kill you, like, no matter how robotic it seems. But when it's someone where you have like, like emotions like being nervous or bashful or shy, that's where it kind of gets scary if they could start mimicking that stuff because you don't, because especially humans, I mean, I know they're so easily manipulated as it is,
Well, it's
so imagine,
creepy. Like,
yeah.
have you seen the demo? Like, I've done the demos for the natural speaking AI, and, I'll have to find the link for you to play around with it, Brian, but it's creepy. Like, you can there's a demo site for this AI that's basically natural voice, natural response, and it's a woman's voice, and I'm telling you, she even jokes like a human. Like, it's not like this like, for instance, I got on there and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she's like, "Hey, what's up? What do you want to talk about?" And I was like, well, let's talk about movies." "Okay, let's talk about movies. What's your favorite movie?" And I said, I don't remember what I said, but somehow the thing came out to Batman was the subject. Okay, somehow Batman came up.
Mm,
And she's like, "Ooh, Batman, the dark brooding crusader. Are you into that kind of thing?" And she's like laughing and stuff. And I'm like, this is super creepy because it sounded like a real like something maybe a real person kind of jokingly, flirtingly would say. And I'm sitting there, I even showed it to Olivia, and Olivia was like, this is kind of like weirding me out, kind of thing. Cause it sounds like you're
yeah.
just talking to this random woman
Yeah,
and it
what's
sounds
creepy
real.
too is it like I feel like it happened so fast. Like there was this AI kind of talk and what they were working on, and then all of a sudden, boom, they started implementing it into things.
Yeah, and it's
And that's what
crazy. Like,
frightens me,
yeah.
honestly, is that it's not ready by any
It's
means.
not
There's still
ready.
some,
It's not. It's
yeah.
not. But it's I mean, well, I'll give you a perfect example. At work right now, I'm about to embark on this big project where we are implementing Microsoft Copilot. And Microsoft Copilot is Microsoft basically their Chat GPT.
Well,
And
then you can know it's not going to work and freeze up.
yeah,
It's the Microsoft all the
true.
time, so you're probably good there.
But I mean, they're already implementing this stuff just to like help you. Like, I played around with it today actually, and I was messing around, and it integrates with the Office application. So it'll integrate with your Outlook, it'll integrate with your Teams. And like, so I pulled it up in Teams just to see what it would do. And it's like, "Oh, you got this Teams channel that you're a part of. Do you want me to just summarize the entire channel for you to give you the bullet points?" Like,
Mm,
and you could click on that and it would basically summarize the entire channel of conversations and give you the highlights of what you need to know. Like, just stuff like that is just mind blowing to me that they're doing this
yeah.
already. It's like crazy. So it becomes like this whole personal assistant type thing. I'm about to do training for it, so I'm just being curious to see how what all it can
You have
do.
to
But
keep giving us like insights to know if we should start going into a bunker now
yeah, I
because
know it's just it's
Skynet's
crazy.
being formed.
But you're right. If
Um,
they ever perfected this, this is what it. And I love that the movie did not dwell on the hows and whys of it. It was just basically okay. This is the universe. They're perfected. They offer them for sale. They're pretty much indistinguishable from humans. They talk naturally, whatever, and this is just what it is. They don't, they don't have to go and explain it to you and all the backstory and everything. It's just this, you just accept it for what it is, and they do it so naturally and seamlessly into the film that you never really question it.
I do it actually, speaking of that, though, so there's one thing I wasn't sure of. So was that meet cute, was that just, like a manufactured
Yeah, it was a implanted memory,
right, it
and
was. It didn't actually, because I was like, "Wait a minute, why they just walk?" At first, I was like, "Oh, so they're just walking around?"
no,
But no, but
but
then I remembered, like, later on, they kind of explain it. They said, "No, no, no, these are manufactured memories that they
I
could put
think
in these things,"
I think
which
Josh
that is
actually
super
explains it to her.
creepy. Yeah, I mean, and that's kinda if you think about it, that's even creepier because now you're giving these things, like, stuff that never actually happened, and they're gonna react on it, and you don't know how they're gonna react to it,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
no,
it's
yeah, there's a point in the movie where he actually explains to her
that's right, he
how
did
that
say,
happened.
yeah, okay.
But,
I
yeah, it's,
forgot. I watched it, like, a week ago, so I'm, like, trying to I couldn't
yeah,
remember if that they actually did
I
explain
watched
it or
it
I
in
just assumed it.
yeah, I watched it in bits and pieces, and I ended up finishing it today, so it's pretty fresh in my mind, but, yeah, so, I like the fact that they just kind of and I love the fact they showed the app that she had. I thought the app was super cool. He has an app
Yeah,
that controls her, and, like, he can dial her intelligence up and down. He could change her voice, and I'm like, if this was a really existed, that's exactly what they would have. They would have things where you
yeah.
could change their voice, probably change their eye color or whatever. Like, it's really neat. I mean, who knows what stuff is gonna like in 100 years, you know?
Yeah.
They may have this stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think you know what it is? I think Sophie Thatcher does such a good job because she's got her characters a lot of times are these like kind of like I don't know if the right word brooding types, but these like kind of like dark. There's a little bit hint
Mhm.
of darkness to them, and it's like so it's like the fact that she was able to play that off, but then also play like like it was good when they saw her there when they were like playing with her stuff and like her range of emotions were kind of changing on it. It's pretty cool. And I saw a thing on there that what a weird skill to have, but apparently, it said it was in one of the trivias that she could cry one eye at a time, and, like, the director actually cued her in to do that because, like, she could literally make one eye tear up and not the other one. So I'm
That's
like, "Okay,
cool.
maybe she is or maybe Sophie Thatcher, that's why she's so awesome because she's AI for real, and we just didn't know it."
I
But
would
yeah, no,
think that
I love Sophie Thatcher. I'll watch her in anything, she's so good.
I would think playing an AI kind of robot that would almost be more difficult potentially than playing a person because where do you draw from? It's like
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's like you're playing something that doesn't exist essentially.
Well, that's
Uh,
what I think this movie did well because they didn't like you said, they kinda played it like that this is the world it's in, this is the AI stuff kinda thing. So it's like they could actually not act so much like an AI robot, like a typical thing what you would expect. They could act like a character and that's it. And
yeah.
then it just would have you'd see the backgrounds of why they're doing it, but, you see what I mean? Like, when it's how, like, a lot of AI movies will make it like, "Oh, we need to put in your emotion chip to get you to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this and
exactly. They make
stuff."
them like
But
robots.
yeah, but this, they're just it's like a human, but, like, almost like a controllable human. I'm sure there was a statement there trying to be made too, a couple of things there, but, just overall, I thought yeah, I mean, it's like and, like, it just it had a couple of good score sequences, which was nice and kinda thing, and it was, like, so funny as, like, the way like, I kinda wish I didn't know that she was but unfortunately, when we're in we see too many, like, trailers being in doing horror podcasts,
Yeah,
where he's up on the up of it, so, and, like, I guess you did a pretty good job to avoiding it until the last second, like,
until the
knowing what
last
it was
yeah.
about, but I was like, but yeah, so I was kind of excited that and also I follow her on Instagram, so, like, she pops up a lot, and so I kinda saw a sequence where that, but I still like the way they revealed, like, her, like, when find out she's, like, a robot, how they revealed it, where he's just like what'd he say, like, "Shut down or go to sleep," or something like that, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he's being a I was like, "Oh, wait, he's being kind of an ass to her," and then I realized, "Oh, no, that's a command, like, to literally shut her down." I was like, "Oh, that's a cool way to reveal it," you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no, and I like that, this movie, I almost it comes close to not being a horror movie in a way, and really being more of a, like, sci-fi-ish thriller, but there's
yeah.
enough brutal sequences, I think, to push it over the edge into horror because there are some sequences where people get hurt in ways that I don't think you can classify it outside of a horror movie.
No,
But this
yeah.
one definitely leans. I think it leans more towards like kind of a more sci-fi thriller. But it's a unique movie. I really entertained. I really really liked it. I thought it was
Yeah, there's not one, like, moment where you're like, "Ugh,"
no
in
no.
this. It's,
There's
like,
it's the
constantly
pacing is so good,
yeah.
and the concept is so good. The performances are so good. It's just yeah, all the way through. I really really liked it, and this is not going to be the last AI companion movie we see. That's kind of the rage right now because horror movies tend to reflect what's going on in real life. So we'll see what else comes out. But I thought this was a great unique twist on it.
And just for the record, I'm one of the few people that liked the movie AI from Steven Spielberg, so not
I
a lot of
didn't
people like
hate
that
it.
movie.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I
I
only
actually
saw it
enjoyed it.
once when it actually first came out, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. But
Yeah.
I definitely did not hate it.
Yeah, no, but some people hate it. I'm like, "Oh, come
Oh,
on."
yeah, I
It
mean, I
was
think it's
it was
because
good.
Steven Spielberg, and they think because you're Steven Spielberg, every movie you make has to be E.T., which is
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
exactly.
I mean, it's just
I
not gonna
know.
happen.
Uh,
But, anyway, so what do we have for our beer pairing, Brian?
so I got one, and it's a perfect name for this. It's called Faithful Companion. It's, and it's from Dogfish Head Brewery out of Rehoboth. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
I've never
Dogfish
known how
Head's
to say
pretty
that.
pretty, Rehoboth? Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
how to
Rehoboth Beach,
Rehoboth? I
Delaware.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard anyone say it, so I need to find
No.
out.
But Dogfish Head's good. They make
Yeah,
some
oh, I
good stuff.
love Dogfish
Yeah.
Head. They were one of the first, like, craft breweries that I really got into
Me
because they were
too,
one of the
yeah.
first.
Because you could find them in the grocery store, like, back in the day before
Yeah,
craft beer really took off like it has now. They were, like, one of the, like, IPA brands you could find in the grocery store, which is why
yeah,
how I found
and
them.
yeah, and they made some really good ones, so, like,
Their
they had
blood
the
orange, I love
couple
their
of
blood
good
orange.
oh, I love that one, yeah. So, yeah, they were definitely one of my early, favorites, for that. This one's like a light one, though. It's only 4.2%, and it's light and refreshing ale steeped in tradition and goodness. The summer pleasure smells of inviting citrus and light caramel, offering the promise of great flavor to come. It's light on the palate with an artfully balanced blend of caramel malt sweetness, citrusy hop, and easy bitterness, and has a clean, dry finish. After the beach, before the boardwalk, or with a breakfast sandwich, Faithful
A
Companion is
breakfast
always there
sandwich.
at your side. That's funny. I've never heard
If
beer paired with a breakfast sandwich
no,
before,
because
but
usually they I don't know if I've
there's a
ever seen a
Bloody
beer
Mary in
company,
a breakfast sandwich, but oh well.
like,
Hey,
yeah,
I'm
promote
open.
drinking beer in the morning, but okay,
I'm
that's
open to
fine.
it. But
These days,
so
yes.
yeah.
Um,
So you knew this fan topic food was coming though, right? With
yes,
this
yes.
movie. And basically it's if you had an opportunity to have a companion robot for any reason or situation, not in like this one, because I know you're like picture your current situation, married with kids kind of thing. So at any
Yeah,
reason, any situation you were able to you had the means and you were able to purchase one of these companion robots, would you?
yeah, we're gonna take the sex bot thing out of the equation
Yes.
here.
This is not a yeah,
So
this is
we're
definitely
not
not a
that kinda
sex bot
podcast.
question. No.
No, so I think realistically, yes, I absolutely would, and the reason I say that is because I tend to be in I wouldn't say I'm an early adopter of technology, but I'm definitely on the front end of it. Like, I've known people that are true early adopters. So, like, they'll buy stuff the first version that comes out. They don't give a crap, whatever
Yeah.
the cost. I
That
used to have
was
a
me,
friend
but
Yeah, I used to have a friend that would do, like he would come out, like, the he was the first person I knew that had an iPhone, the first person that had the first everything, and he didn't care. He didn't care how much it cost. He didn't care, like, what features were broken, what bugs it had. He was always the first to have it. I was always kind of like the second generation guy. Like, I would wait for the first one to come out, get all the bugs out, and then I'd jump on the first time they got it refined. I was that kind of guy. So I would say not an
yeah.
early. I don't know what you call that, an early adopter or like a early-ish adopter. I don't know.
I was like you though, because I wanted that first round because like I got burned too there was when I started doing that, when I was buying everything right away, I started getting burned because like things weren't
Yeah,
as good. And I forgot the one thing that really switched me over. It was like one of the video games where like I bought it and like nothing was coming out for it. And like it was like a really like I was kind of a bust and it took a while before it got Steam. But I remember like certain things I didn't regret. Like the Nintendo I had the first Nintendo like right when it came out that Christmas where you had Bob the Robot,
yeah, I had that one.
and
Yeah,
and all that stuff. And I think I don't know was it was like I can't remember the system now. I don't remember what it was, but it was one video game thing I got, and I remember and I was like really disappointed because it like never, like,
Was it like the
made it.
TurboGrafx? That came out at the same time the Sega
No.
Genesis came out.
Yeah, no, I had Genesis. I was a big Sega person, so I had Sega Genesis. I well, I know Saturn did that for a lot of people. I never had the Saturn.
I
I
never had the
skipped
Saturn
Saturn. I
either,
went to
yeah.
Dreamcast, and Dreamcast was kind of that. I mean, it had a decent amount of launch titles, but then I think for a while, some didn't come out for it.
I
And I
never
remember
had a
I went
Dreamcast
all
either.
in on the Dreamcast. I, like, literally bought, like, extra controllers. I bought 2 of the light guns. I bought, like, extra those little things that went in there, that looked like the little that went in the controllers, remember, that you could, like, then save stuff and, like, play it little games later
Yeah.
with it and stuff. But, yeah, none of that, but yeah, so then now I started becoming more of like I'm a wait and see kinda thing. Like, I didn't buy the first Switch, and I was gonna buy it, but then once I knew the second one's coming out, so I pre-ordered the second one, and, Switch 2, and so I'll jump on the Switch bandwagon there, but I don't think I never I had GameCube. I think I skipped what was GameCube? Did it go right to Switch after that? Oh, no, it
No,
was
it went to the
Wii.
Wii,
Oh,
and then
which
the
I
Wii
did
U.
I was an early adopter. I actually had the Wii really early. Cone got us, Cone knew someone at that one of his jobs at that point, he, uh, he had someone he had a contact in Japan for Nintendo, and so, like, he
Oh
would
my
get early
gosh.
stuff for us. So we got that early. We got the one of the, I think the 3DS early.
Oh,
He got
yeah.
for me, picked that up. So, yeah, so for a while, I was early on Nintendo thing, and then for some reason, I just after Wii, I don't know, because 'cause I'm like, "The Switch is cool," but I had playing Xbox, and I hardly had had enough time for that, kinda thing, and I was like so I'm like, "You know what? I could now I kinda limit it to basically one system," but did get the pre-ordered the Switch too, because kinda like the
Yeah,
idea.
I don't think I'm going to, only because we never played our Switch 1, like, ever. Like, it's literally collecting dust in a drawer,
I
so I'm
should sell
just
it
stick with
back,
my
get
PlayStation.
some
Yeah.
points, or
But,
at,
yeah,
like,
so
GameStop or something.
but that's good getting back to the thing, that's exactly why I think I would do this, because I would be not the first model that came out, but if I had the means, and again, I'm not gonna spend an exorbitant amount of money for one of
No,
these
no.
things, but if money was not an object, I think I absolutely would, just because I'm just a technology nerd that I like new stuff. I mean, I love the AI stuff coming out. Like,
Yeah,
I like playing around with it. I like seeing what it can do. I find it interesting. I also find it scary. I
yeah.
also find it
Well, like anything,
frustrating.
because things get misused. Any kind of good technology sometimes look what social media was like, what it
Yeah.
became, like, the most toxic thing in the world when, like, still people are trying to fight to get it to used for the proper ways, and every once in a while, it does, but, like, there's so many things of, like, how, like any technology, when it becomes too mad to everybody, it just you're gonna get the misuse, and
The
that's what
thing
would
about
scare me.
AI though, is not the thing that scare not I want to say I mean, a lot of people are scared that AI is going to take over the world.
See
I'm not.
Terminator, that's why,
Yeah,
it's
my
like
fear doesn't come from that. My fear is more based on current reality, and that is I don't feel like it's ready for what
yeah,
they're trying to make it do. Like,
right,
they're like, "Oh my god, AI's here. We've gotta have it diagnosing patients now. We've gotta have it, handling medical records." And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, guys, like, this thing doesn't even know how many R's are in the word strawberry, and you're
yeah.
now giving it control of my medical
Yeah.
records? Like,
Yeah,
this
it's
thing."
giving people 5, like, of the same finger in pictures, and
Yeah,
you
like,
want it to diagnose, like, a surgery?
I like,
Like
yeah, there's too much, what they call it, AI hallucinations, I guess is what they call it,
yeah,
when AI just goes off the rocker. And if you look at it, and they say, "Oh my god, it's so smart." And there are some things, yes, it's very smart at, but there's other things where it sounds like me bullshitting my English teacher in high school. That's exactly what it sounds like. The way AI writes, and you ask it something, you could tell, like, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's
yeah,
making up it's putting a lot of words on the page that sound very intelligent, but there's no substance behind it whatsoever, and you can tell these language models, they're just not there yet, and I'm
and
hesitant
I
that
don't like how
people are
Google
putting too.
uses it now, like, Google will make it the first thing that comes up, and I'm like, "Oh, this isn't it," and my poor mother-in-law watches YouTube, and she gets caught in these, like, she got caught in this algorithm the other day where she's got all these weird AI videos, and she was, like, trying to show us, and, like, Julie's like, "That's AI." She's like, "No, no, no, it's real." I'm like, "No, no, no." I'm like, "If you look at it, look at this. This doesn't
Yeah,
make sense. This doesn't make." And it's what happened is once you watch it once, like YouTube, the algorithm goes, and now you're
yeah.
getting all these
I
videos.
mean,
So
it's
it's like,
amazing. I have no doubt it's gonna get better, and it's gonna get
oh, of
really
course, yeah,
good,
yeah,
and, but I feel like it's the same it's the same thing that happened to a much greater extent, but I mean, this is to a much lesser extent. Virtual reality. Remember when virtual
yeah.
reality finally hit mainstream, and then it's like everybody was like, "Oh, we gotta go jump into virtual reality," until they realized that like nobody wants it, and
Yeah.
then they kind of backed off of it, and now like you don't hear about
Now
it
my Quest
anymore.
sits there. I haven't used it in
Yeah.
4 years.
So so I think like I feel like maybe that backlash is coming at some point because I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's not going away. It's only going to get
Yeah.
better, but I just feel like they're going too fast, too hard, and something's like that's not a good situation. Nothing ever good comes out of going too fast, too early with something that's not perfected yet. But anyway, so we'll see. But
Um,
yeah, I would definitely get a companion robot and mess around with it, and it would probably
yeah.
end up sitting in a corner collecting dust after I got tired of it.
Yeah, see, I wait and see if yours, didn't kill you first, and then I'd go. Now, they might get me if they started making Sophie Thatcher and Sydney Sweeney models, I mean, just to have them
Yeah,
walking around, I
that's true. That
might
would be tempting.
be a little
But
more
here's the
tempted.
thing, do you honestly do you use your Alexa to the full I mean, let's see,
I
like, your
never use it
Echo
at
or
all. I don't even have one. I mean, I had one, but we don't even use it. Like, I never my brother
exactly.
used it all the time for
I've
his,
got
but
one in my office. I don't ever ask it anything. Like, what el like, so and I don't even begin to use the capabilities of the thing. Like, I
yeah, same
maybe once in a while, I'll remember to ask it, like, what movies are out this week, and it'll
yeah.
tell me, and that's cool,
Same with
but
like Siri was like cool at first, and then I'm like, I'm tired of it. I don't want to sit there talking to the like I type faster than
exactly,
it's
like, I
like
don't like I know that in theory, I could say, "Hey," I'm not gonna say it because 'cause she'll pipe
I
up,
know
but
that she'll pick up on
and
it.
and I'll
Yeah.
say, "Text Olivia and do this," and a lot of people use that. I don't even use that. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just wait till I get home and I'll text her. Like,
Yeah, it's
I don't know,
not
maybe
like
that's
yeah.
just me being old, but I just I don't use even a fraction of a percent of what those things can actually do.
Same with me. I mean, yeah, I mean, my brother has it, it's cool because it's like, he does has his light set with it and he does stuff and he's always cooking a lot and that's when I'll see him use it a lot. Like, "Oh, Siri, what's the recipe for the," so I've seen him do that and it's my little niece like will have it do stuff. It's cute, but yeah, I mean, to me it's just like I don't know. It's weird because it's supposed to make everything easier, but I feel like I don't have the patience for it. I don't know. I'm a tactile person. I like magazines still and that, like I still
Yeah,
like a magazine in my hand.
yeah, I don't know.
But
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. I guess, Anna and Joshua will have to the
yeah,
next generation
it'll be
coming
like
up.
Tim and Bicentennial Man 2,
Yeah.
Yeah, like Josh will have it dive out the window.
Yeah. Oh, I don't
But,
know. Have to see what but they don't even I mean, they don't use AI stuff. Like, they don't talk to Siri or Alexa. They don't do any of that stuff. So I don't who
I
is this
figured that'd
for?
be
I don't
all
know.
kids, kids
Yeah,
thing, but
who is
yeah.
this for? I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure it will get better, and if any of the things I've played around with are any indication of what is to come, I mean, it's gonna be truly amazing. It's gonna definitely be world changing, but we're not there yet. Not quite there yet. But yeah, so,
I
again,
will
thank
I'll
you
tell
guys.
you, if Siri would figure out why my leg is like I have to keep waking it up every 5 seconds right now because stupid chair I sat on. I'm, like, sitting there squirming around, and then I move it, and then the chair rolls away. So,
Yeah, get
I
on
don't know,
that,
should I ask
Siri.
Siri how to
What po what is
fix
good
my body?
podcast?
Because,
If you ask ChatGPT what good podcast posture would, it would give you this long
I think that's what
3-paragraph
it is.
bullshit answer.
I
Yeah,
know, because that's what I need. I need better posture because I sit on my leg and then it falls asleep, and I can't I'm trying to rub it to get open again, and I can't, get the feeling back.
good posture is a hallmark of any good podcasting
Yeah, that's what it
situation.
would say. It'd say, "Make sure you have a
Yeah.
chair." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
thanks." Have it.
Like, I could do that. I used to do that in English class all the time. I would when they
Yeah.
had to have double space, it has to be 12 pages, and you would double space and use the biggest font you could get away with.
Well, there was a we saw a play, like the Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, like, and there's a sequence in there where, like, they're doing the book report and, like, Lucy keeps going, like, making things like, "I don't want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and counting the words, like, kinda thing, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be me. That was so me." Or I remember summer school very, 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 very much like that. Like, that'd be totally me.
Yes. Oh my
Like,
god.
I can embellish better than anybody in
Oh,
my life.
yeah,
Oh
I
my
could
god.
totally do that, yeah.
I'm a master, but
Um,
anyway,
but
so
if you guys
but
would like us to embellish a murder for you, please
yes. Oh, yeah,
give
give
us
us a
a
review.
rating. Yeah, give us a review. Let us know that you dropped us a review, and we will kill you on air with
Yes.
a customized murder just for you. So
Sounds like a
get those
plan.
into us, and we will see you back here next week. Don't know what movie we're
Yes.
doing, but if you
Yep.
have any suggestions, you're always free to send them to us at
Yeah.
civilwarepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on the socials and let us know what you'd like us to cover, and we will do
Or
so.
we could ask AI, "What movie do you wanna do?" I'm
Yes,
afraid.
ChatGPT.
It was more
Yeah.
William Fratkin. No, like
Yeah.
no, that was good, that guy. Uh,
Yeah.
alrighty.
ChatGPT says,
Yeah.
horror movies are a wonderful way to pass the time. Here are some horror movies that we recommend you have Civil Gore cover on their next episode.
I never imagined
Number
that the game
1.
was a good thing.
Oh my god. Okay.
That'd be funny.
All right. Sorry to keep bashing you, ChatGPT. We'll see you
Yes.
guys next week.
See ya.